Thank you for tuning in. I Can Get You Fly TV show. This is Stylist John, where you tune in for business after beauty school education for the enthusiastic, ambitious student who wants to make a six-figure year income rather than just a standard 20K per year. The series that I've been talking about is called Go Where You Are Celebrated. Now, why have I been talking about going where you celebrated? Well, the reason why I've been talking about going where you celebrate is because anytime you go to a party and someone throw you a party, you excited, you having a good time, you around people that love you, because people that love you is gonna be at your party, and people that don't love you won't be at your party. Let's keep it real. I never heard of somebody that hates you throwing a party for you. So if somebody throwing a party for you, they love you. And so when you begin to celebrate in an environment where you are celebrated, you're around love, you're around people that care about you, you're around those that find your level of influence or your life force very positive, and they find your life force to have meaning. And so when you're going where you celebrate it, you just can't help but to grow because you're around love. And so why did I talk about that? Well, because you new stylist and you in school, or you about to graduate, or you just recently graduated, and you trying to find your place in the beauty industry, because the beauty industry can be cutthroat. Oh, yes, it can. There's a lot of systems in the beauty industry where if you're not really hip on some stuff, then you're going to get left behind. And so you're not designed to be left behind. Why? Because I believe in you and I think that you can win. And I want to see you win. I want to see you stay vibrant in this industry. And why do I want to see you stay vibrant in this industry? Because you doing what you love to do. Anytime God said, I'm going to bless the work of your hands and I'm going to give you a gift, he gave you the gift in order for you to multiply it, but for you to do it over a long period of time until you leave this earth, right? And so in the beauty industry, it's a lot of things in the industry where if you're not hip on it, then you can find yourself in an unlawful environment, or an environment where people don't like you and hate you, and you're not going to be able to express what God put in you. Which leads me to today's episode. Today's episode is celebrate while working on your goals. That was the last episode. Today's episode is celebrate with your hands up towards God while you're working on your craft. Now, why did I say celebrate while with your hands up towards God while working on your craft? Well, number one, when you celebrate with your hands up like this, you telling God, I surrender, right? You're not surrendering in the sense of being powerless. You surrendering in the sense of saying, God, I need some more of your power. I need some more of your understanding. I need some more of your wisdom. And so when you begin to celebrate, which means that you're thankful and you begin to be grateful for a lot of things that you're in, or for the activity of your limbs, you begin to throw yourself apart and you begin to celebrate for your situation, either if it's the best situation or if it's the worst situation in the world. When you begin to celebrate, you take power away from the situation and the power come right into you, and you begin to hold your hands up like this and celebrate. What happens? God power begin to reside on the inside of you, and you begin to get empowered in your body. Okay. So instead of being like, oh man, I'm mad because I can't pay my bills. No, you celebrate. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to pay my bills. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to have a skill set that I have. Thank you for being able to learn. And as you begin to celebrate and you begin to look at the things to be thankful for, you're not looking at your problems, you're looking at the solution. Why? Because God is the answer to a lot of our solutions. And where do God reside? God reside up in heaven, but he reside on the inside of us. And as he reside on the inside of us, we emulate heaven and birth it out of us. So when you celebrate with your hands up, you saying, God, I want some more of your power. God, I want some more of you. And so when he pour more out of him inside of you, you begin to be filled more with God on the inside of you. More witty ideas, more witty inventions, more creativity, more understanding, more wisdom, more love, more longevity to be able to stand up for a long time. When I was in cosmetology school, I stood up 10 hours a day. I would get there early and I would be the last one leaving. The teacher would get mad at me. The teacher would get mad at me because while everybody packing up, I'm the last one leaving, but I was the first one there. I was serious about school. And the reason why I was serious about school was because I love doing her. On top of doing music, music is like my first gift. That's the very first one that I recognized that God gave me, because when I was in preschool, I love music. I'm talking about I've been in music since majority of all my life. You know, I got report cards back from when I was in preschool, first grade, second grade, third grade, and you look at my report card, you see straight E's on E's stand for excellent. Straight E's on my report card. And when I found out I knew how to do hair at 5 years old and braided my cousin hair at 9, I was like, man, I can live off of this. You know, when I found myself at a point where I was unemployed, and I said, you know what? Ain't nothing gonna stop me from being able to support myself. My neighbor wife called me and said, hey, John, can you twist my hair? And I was like, yep. How much you gonna charge me? I said, just give me what what it's worth. And I twisted up her hair for her. She gave me $60 in my hand. I was like, thank you. My neighbor wife, my neighbor husband came home and was like, I like your hair, babe. What's going on? He was like, John did it. The neighbor husband looked at me and said, John did that? And I was like, yeah. He was like, do you like it? He was like, yeah, I like it. He was like, here, let me give you some more money. Here. I like how my wife hair look. So, whatever you good at, God will always show you. He'll show you the works of your hands, what your hands is good at. And so when you begin to celebrate and lift your hands up towards God and begin to thank God for the thing that he gave you, he'll show you how to use it a whole lot differently. You don't have to use it the same way everybody else is using it. When you lift your hands up towards God and begin to celebrate while you're working on your craft and you begin to celebrate God, God begin to celebrate you. And how did he celebrate you? He starts celebrating you with more witty ideas, more inventions, more understanding. He take your creativity level to a higher level. You begin to start to create things that's not in the school books. You begin to create things that will revolutionize your name. I used a big word right there. I said revolutionize. Okay? Revolutionize. Look that word up, revolutionize. Okay? By you celebrating and lifting your hands up towards God and saying, God, I'm gonna give you back the gift that you gave me. I'm gonna use this mug and I'm gonna exalt your name with it as I begin to lift up and be thankful for the little things that I have around me. He starts saying, use what you got in your hands. If you're in poverty and you don't have no money and you can't support your children and you can't support yourself, he said, use what you got in your hands. Use what you got. What you got laying around that you ain't explored. What you got laying around that you never tapped into. What you got laying around that you never tried to experience or you never really fully explored. Poverty teaches a lot of people to be successful. That's why, when I be hearing stories about how people is homeless, my heart always go out to them, because people that's homeless, that's always in the constant state of survival, are some of the most creative, because they find ways to solve problems that regular people wouldn't even think about. I worked with the homeless for almost 2.5 years and made almost 1 million meals while I was working at this church called Cincinnati Methodist Church. And I had a phenomenal time working with some individuals that was homeless. And I found out a lot of information. One of my biggest fears since I was a small child was being abandoned and being homeless. That always was like one of my biggest fears. And I always worked hard from being a young man to being an older man to always try to help those that I could, within my means without hurting my own self, to help those in means to find a better solution for certain things. And when I worked with the homeless and I had to conquer my own fear of almost being homeless, and I was working with the homeless, it taught me a lot of information. And what I learned was this. I learned that no matter what state you in, your ability to be thankful towards God, God will always show you a way out. Always. He will always show you a way out. One of the things that I learned while working with individuals that was homeless is that, individuals that are near homeless or in a constant state of survival find ways to do things that aren't normally conventional. And it's a good thing, because if you look at the history of Black people over the past 400 years since we have been in America, have been in systematic slavery, we have found ways to do things that no one else could do without having all the resources. I'm talking about in historically Black colleges. Before they was historically Black colleges, it was people that was trying to learn how to read English just so they can survive. It was people that was learning how to do various different things, like how to make the cotton, how to pick cotton faster so that you save your labor. Great inventors, during the civil rights era, trying to solve problems so that they could save the labor of their back, trying to solve problems so that they don't have to pick cotton as fast. And so you in the beauty industry, this industry is $1 billion industry. But in the African American community, we have $1 trillion buying power, and black women dominate the hair industry. I'm a man in the hair industry. And the reason why I got into the hair industry was because I noticed that I had a gift at an early age from helping out my mom and helping out my grandmother. And my grandmother was like one of my early role models that showed me love and nurtured me. And so I spent a lot of time being babysat by her. And she did a lot of her in her kitchen. And so the kitchen area was like my area for me to sit down and learn something. Now, mind you, I was a very energetic young man that was always playing video games, always running around, playing basketball and doing sports. But the time that I spent with my grandmother was always close to my heart because my grandmother was a very strong woman and she had 9 children. And it take a very strong person to raise 9 children. And I was one of the grandbabies. And my grandmother took a lot of her time with caring for me and showing me how to do stuff. And I had to soak up the information and wisdom. And because she loved me being able to soak up this education and wisdom allowed me to understand things a little faster because I was around love. And so because I was around her and she loved me, I absorbed the wisdom faster. Because she loved me and I was around her, I was able to learn how to cook and uh, make meals from scratch and bake and do all type of stuff. And so the reason why I'm talking about this is because today's subject matter is celebrate with your hands up towards God while you're working on your craft. My grandmother did things out of necessity. She did things out of survival. She only had an 8th grade education. She did not graduate high school. Why? Because she had her first child at 14. And she raised 9 of them. She passed away when she was like in her late 70s. That's a long lifespan. And so in this lifespan that I have, from me being around somebody that's been around for almost 100 years, my grandmother, she passed away in her 70s. And having the wisdom that she had, and she did not graduate from high school, and I graduated from high school, and I went to college twice and got 2 associate's degrees and a cosmetology license, made me think, what type of legacy do I want to leave behind for my children when I have some? I'm not married. I don't have any children. I'm currently looking for the right missus. But point I'm trying to make is this. You only got so long to live. And if all your time that you spend on this earth is doing things that's outside of what your gift is and outside of what your talents are, you're spending a lot of time not working on the thing that God gave you to work on. And so it's okay to go work for somebody else. I work for a lot of different places. I'm not even ashamed about it because these different places I work taught me a lot of stuff about me, and it taught me a lot of stuff about the work field. But the things that you find yourself being the most successful at is the things that God gave you. What did God give you in your hands that you can hold up to him and celebrate? The things that he put inside of your hands, what did he give you to put inside your hands to give back to him while you're working on your craft to be thankful for? What did he give you? Me, he gave me music. I can make a beat like that. If you don't believe me, inbox me a melody and I can come back with something and I'm going to charge you for it. But I can come back with a beat like this. I can mix it. I can master it down for you. I can even write you a song or a jingle for your company or business that will take your business to a higher level and shoot a video for it. These are just some things that God gave me. And I celebrate the things that God gave me. Why do I celebrate them? Well, because he didn't have to give them to me, but he did. And the fact that he did shows me that he took enough time out of his day before I was even born to put it in me and say, this is what I'm going to gift you at, and this is what I want you to do. When you find out that you're good at it, I want you to give it back to me, and I want you to tell everybody, and I want you to show everybody how good you are at it. I want you to show everybody. And the reason how I want you to show everybody you're good at it is because I want you to give it back to me, and I want you to talk about me while you're doing it. And so when you begin to celebrate with your hands up towards God while you're working on your craft, you start winning. And there's a parable in the Bible, in the great book of wisdom, I call it, the newspaper. Some people don't like reading it, but it's okay. About a guy named Moses. And Moses was this general who had a speech impediment that God chose from the time of his womb, and he was like the oddball of his family. He was sent down a river. He was found by another parent that raised him, and then his mother actually ended up being in the palace with him. But he was a guy that was chosen by God to lead the children of Israel out of bondage. Now, side note, what bondage are you in? Are you in financial bondage right now in the hair industry? Are you in a situation where you cannot pay your bills or you cannot move forward in life? What type of bondage are you in? Moses was this guy that was sent to lead the children of Israel out of bondage. And how was he able to lead the children out of Israel out of bondage? He had to find himself in a place of being celebrated by God, where he celebrated God, but then he also spent a lot of time worshiping God and fasting and praying. Are you fasting and praying? Have you tried to fast and pray? Have you tried in your existence of living? Have you tried communicating with the God that created you? Have you tried that? And if you have, and you have heard no answer, I'm going to ask you again to try again. If you tried and you haven't heard an answer, try again until he begins to talk to you, because the God that is up in heaven, in the earth realm, or in heaven's realm, is alive. If you don't believe me, try it for yourself. If every day you wake up and you have the activity of your limbs and you can get up and you can smell and you can breathe and you can move around, there's something keeping your life force alive. Some people may say it's science. I say that it's God. Some people may say that there is no God, but I believe that there is one. Everybody may argue about his name being different, but it's only one. There's only one. And when you celebrate the one that made all, and you begin to celebrate with your hands up towards the one that created you, he'll start giving your body a lot of wisdom, a lot of energy, and a lot of insight. And then as you're working on your craft and you're thinking about him, he's going to help you better your craft. He's going to help you understand things about your craft that is not in a school book. He's going to help you understand things that is not in a school book. You can read a school book and get the system of understanding, but like where your gift and your skill set is, you're going to supersede the school book because you are a walking school book. Seriously, you are a walking school book. The reason why school books exist is because people wrote them. And if you have your own school book on the inside of you, your skill set, your level of ability or knowledge, and you decide to make your own book, now you're going to be a walking, now you're going to have a physical book from your walking school book, which is you. So today's episode is about celebrate with your hands up towards God while you're working on your craft. Moses, when he went against the ites, the Canaanites, the Amalekites, the Hittites, when he went against the ites, he had his hands up raised towards God like this. Now, why did he have his hands up raised towards God? Because he was in worship. He was celebrating. He was thankful that God chose him. And then while he had his hands up, they was winning. They did not start losing at all until his arms got tired and he started lowering his hands. What does that mean in your personal life? When you stop praising God, do your bills start increasing? When you stop praising God, do you stop having enough food to eat? When you stop praising God, do you stop having the energy in your body to get up and go to work and do what you're supposed to do? So the lesson in that is to always and continuously praise the God that made you, and to continuously celebrate and give thanks for the things that you have and the skills you have, and God will begin to magnify them. As you begin to magnify God, he begins to magnify you. Why? He said in his word, he said, if I be lifted up above the earth, then I will draw all men unto myself. And so what does that mean? The first thing that he draws is you. He starts to draw you in. You begin to get an understanding about what his realm is like, what time is like, or what eternity is like. You begin to get an understanding of that. And then as you begin to understand what eternity is like, and then you get back into this natural time because we are in time, because our body decays, you start to understand things in this time realm. When you understand things in this time realm, then you begin to understand how to navigate within this time realm to be in balance with eternity. You might not understand what I'm saying now, but you will soon. As soon as you begin to celebrate with your hands up towards God while working on your craft. I'm Stylist John. Thank you for tuning in to I Can Get You Fly TV show. I want to encourage you, whatever it is that you're good at, whatever it is that you love to do, when you begin to celebrate God, when you begin to celebrate God and celebrate the things that you love to do and celebrate the people that you love around you, it's going to change your life. I'm telling you, try it. It's going to change your life. And while you're celebrating, you want to rebuild your craft, rebuild your credit, and you want to restore your credit. And if you want to donate, go to www.gofundme.com/stylistjohn. Inbox me your email, contact number, and best time to reach you at. And for more tips, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can join my newsletter at www.stylistjohn.webs.com and book your weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly appointment with me. I appreciate you for business after beauty school education for the enthusiastic, ambitious student who wants to make a six-figure year income rather than just a standard 20K per year. There's nothing wrong with working for someone else, but the greatest person to work for is yourself or God, and God resides on the inside of you. And so, if God gave you a skill set, why not open up? Why not open up a business and give your business to God, who's also on the inside of you, and then help out your community? Think about it. I love you. I wish you success.